It's a lovely spring day, and because we're in the middle of March, the chances of the weather lasting like this for the next couple of months is slim, to say the least. But I'm going to take my opportunity to do the yearly clean of my patio. And following on from your comments in the last couple of years, today I'm going to try the Karcher T-Race surface cleaner, which is one of those heads you put on your pressure washer, spins around, and is supposed to do the job a lot quicker and a lot cleaner for you. And I'm also going to compare it to the Parkside surface cleaner, which apparently also fits my machine. But if you don't have a pressure washer, I'm also going to show you the absolutely easiest way of cleaning your patio with a chemical that's cheap, controversial, and it might kill everything in your garden, but it definitely make your patio look clean. What a lovely spring day in the middle of March. So I'm going to take the opportunity to get a job for the spring and the summer out the way, which is cleaning my patio. Now, 2 years ago, I showed you how I clean my patio, and I purely only used my pressure washer, my jet wash, with no chemicals or whatever. And I got a lot of comments saying, Stuart, you should be using some sort of patio cleaner. So 1 year ago, I trialed different types of patio cleaners, which I was, how do you say it? Underwhelmed by, and to be honest with you, just finished off same again using my pressure washer. Now, there was some other comments saying that I should be using a different type of nozzle, a different type of head on my pressure washer. And what people are referring to is these heads that you can buy that you put on the end of the lance with nozzles inside that spin around, and it sort of contains all the water, stops it splashing everywhere, and apparently does a really good job of cleaning your patio. Now, I've never used one of these before, so this will be my first time, and I'm going to be interested to see if it works particularly well. So I've also got the Parkside cleaner. It's an equivalent cleaner, and it's got an adapter that should hopefully fit my machine as well. Now, obviously the cost of this is a lot less. This Parkside surface cleaner is £20, obviously from Lidl's. This Karcher T5 you can get anywhere from £50 on a special on Amazon up to about £90, depending on where you go. So there's quite a big difference cost-wise in these. Now, I've never used something like this. I've only ever used the standard nozzle head. Now, I'm sure they're going to contain the water a lot better, and I'm going to get splashed a lot less than I'm used to. Whether they actually cut through all that stuff on my patio is another matter. Now, talking about all that green stuff on my patio, let me just show you what I need to clean. So if we just have a quick look at my patio, this is what it normally looks like at this time of year. And what you'll notice is there's a lot of areas tinged with green and algae on the surface. So they look pretty dirty. But also something I've not really noticed too much before, I'm getting a lot of these black spots, which are little bits of lichen growing on these slabs. Now they're 3, 4, 5 years old. And some are black, and some of these are the little white bits as well, some yellow as well. So it really does need a clean. And I like to clean at this time of the year, because if I clean now, then it's going to be nice and fresh for spring and summer, and I won't need to do it again until maybe autumn or later in the year. Now, I did mention at the start that there's also a chemical you can put down, which is probably the easiest way of cleaning your patio. But I will be showing you how to do that a little bit later, once I've unboxed these and given them a try. So this is the Karcher T5 T-Racer surface cleaner, and it's suitable for just about every Karcher washer in their range. It comes with a lance extension, which is about 1 metre long, and 3 different sets of nozzles designed for different flow rates of their different machines, everything from the K2 to the K7. So there's not much to it really. Quite a nice extension arm, and then an adjuster, which I've got a feeling is going to be on full whack for me all the time, that raises and lowers those jets. Whether they're strong enough to do the business or not is another matter. Let's have a look at the Parkside one. Obviously, the Parkside cleaner is designed to fit the Parkside pressure washers and comes with a similar length lance and an adjustment, but this time it adjusts the pressure rather than the height of the nozzles from the ground. Size-wise, it's the same diameter as the Karcher, which is about 275mm or 10.5 inches, but it's not so high or top heavy as the yellow machine. And there's an adapter to fit your Karcher. Well, I hope it fits a Karcher. So what does it say? Includes adapter for other standard pressure washers, asterisk, asterisk. So I'm sort of assuming, maybe wrongly, that that should fit my Karcher. Let's try it. Oh, yep, there you go. So this one on here, and then this goes on here. Okay, well for £20, that is pretty substantial from Parkside, I would say. Whether it works or not is another matter, but it's looking good so far. I'm only going to find out by putting some water through it. Before cleaning any patio, it's a good idea to remove as much growth, weeds, debris, anything else that's on the surface as you can manually, which will make the pressure washing go quicker and more effective. Nope. Yeah, makes a difference if you actually turn it on. Right, so let's start with the Lidl's Parkside one, which seems to fit okay. Oops, he says, having got it round the wrong way. And it's got these adjustments where you can actually tighten it up so it stays like in the line that you've sort of fixed it to, which is quite nice. Let's just see if it works, shall we? Even though this washer doesn't have a choice over the nozzles you can use like the Karcher does, it seems to work pretty well with the medium-sized pressure washer that I'm using. The first thing it definitely does do is it doesn't cover you with water. I'm sort of used to the fact that whenever I'm jet washing and pressure washing, I end up with wet trousers. I can actually see a distinct line there where it's cleaned this side and obviously hasn't cleaned the other. It is actually cutting through a lot quicker than just using the lance by itself. Really surprised. And I'm not getting wet. The lance extension that comes with the washer is long enough to make the washing process comfortable, and in some ways reminds me of using a traditional vacuum cleaner in the house. So my initial feelings about this is it's really good actually. I'm surprised that these two nozzles have the power to actually cut through similar to my jet wash, but we'll try that in a minute. Just show you the workings of this. It's just got two nozzles, and because they're angled, they just force themselves around. This adjustment at the back doesn't move the nozzles up and down. All it does is cut down the pressure. As I said, the only way we can really tell is if I go back to the original nozzle and go back to one of the paving slabs I've already cleaned to see if I can clean it any better with the original nozzle, or maybe it's already cleaned as well as it can be. So it wasn't cleaned absolutely as well as it could be. You can see, hopefully, you can see a line between what I've just cleaned. Now the first rotating nozzle did clean it a lot. I mean, it probably took 80% off, but now I'm just taking the last 20% off. Maybe I need to just slow it down and use the rotating nozzle a little bit longer. I then did exactly the same on another paver that I've already cleaned a couple of meters away. That is impressive. I can't see any difference between my original nozzle than the section cleaned with the rotating head, and I'm a lot cleaner than I would be because it's got that shroud around it than when I was using this, which just means everything gets wet, including your trousers. It also obviously depends on how long you leave your rotating head over your paving for. If you're going to do it quickly, it's not going to be as clean. Having said that, even using this head did take a little bit of time because I'm only really cleaning sort of 2 inches wide at a time. So this isn't the fastest thing in the world. So really, I'm really impressed with that. Let's try the Karcher, but I've got a feeling it can't really be any better. And it could be, I've just wasted 60 quid. This seems to be so far doing a very similar job to the park side, although it does feel a little bit more premium, and this extension here is just a little bit firmer. Maybe if I do that up, that helps a little bit, but it's a lot more expensive. So I brought it over here where I've got some really dark sort of greeny patches just to see how it performs, and let's see what it does on this. So that works pretty well. I wouldn't say it actually works any better than the Parkside one. Both of them rely on the fact that you work in an area a number of times, and it really depends how quickly you go over the area, especially with these nozzles going around. If you go over quickly, you only cut and clean certain sections, you don't clean all of it. Let me just show you a really bad slab down here. So this is a particularly green slab, and if you go over it fast, I'll show you what you end up with. So you end up with a load of swirls with some bits cleaned and some bits not. So you really have to slow it down. And because it cleans with this rotary motion, it's not really surprising that the slower you go, the better it cleans. So really impressed with that. Whether it cleans as well as just a single lance, I'm not convinced. But if it doesn't, it does at least a 95% job. And it does mean that actually while you're doing it, it's a lot more comfortable because it shrouds you from water and it just makes the whole process easier. I don't know if it's any quicker because you do have to go over areas a few times just to make sure you don't get those swirls that I showed you earlier. But yeah, really impressed. And actually, if you think you're going to be cleaning a patio like this yearly, I would suggest in investing in one. Whether this Karcher one is any better than the little one, I will tell you later once I've finished many, many more square meters. But I did say at the beginning, there's a really easy way of cleaning a patio if you haven't got a pressure washer. It might be a little bit controversial, but let me show you that now. And this is the stuff that will clean any patio, absolutely sparkling, without doing any pressure washing. It's called sodium hypochlorite or hypo or bleach, as most people will know it. But this stuff is a lot stronger than the bleach you buy in your supermarkets. This is about 14–15%, whereas bleach in your supermarkets around about 3 or 4. So this is 3 or 4 times stronger than what you can get in your local shops. They do say that you need to dilute it up to 5 times. I've diluted it up to 3 times just to make sure that I get rid of all this lichen. And the only reason it's a little bit controversial is this is really strong. This is bleach. It says on the instructions, keep away from grass and flower beds. It also says that any area you spray with this needs to be kept away from pets and children for at least 2 days. So really, if you're into wildlife, you can't keep wildlife away from your garden for 2 days. So this is why it's a little bit controversial. But I've come out the front here, where it's actually a lot colder than the back garden, to do this front bit because I've got no grass here, so I'm not worried about killing any grass. So let's spray this everywhere and see how it goes. I first choose a really bad couple of pavers to use as a test section that has plenty of algae and lichen all over them, which I know that I wouldn't be able to remove with the pressure washer that I use. So I'll give these 2 pavers a liberal dosing of my 3 parts water and 1 part sodium hypochlorite solution. With them covered, I now go about attacking the rest. Using a medium-sized garden sprayer like this, it only takes 2 or 3 litres to cover this area. And I must say, it is a quick, easy process. So that's about it done, and all we need to do is wait, I think it says on the tub, about half an hour to 45 minutes. I would highly recommend wearing proper PPE. If you're going to do this, you're going to get it on you. What I found with this sprayer that I've just been using is that everything sort of drips a little bit, nothing's quite sealed, so you're going to get it all over your hand. So you wear not just normal gloves, but something that's waterproof, and definitely eye protection, and clothing that you don't mind if it just gets splashed with a little bit of bleach. So what we need to do now is sit back for about half an hour. Within a couple of minutes, the solution forms a slightly white froth on the surface, so I know it's doing its job. After a bit, I wash off the test panel, which is now looking really clean. Just to remind you, this is what it looked like before and now after, which I think is a world apart without any brushing or mechanical help. So after 30 to 40 minutes, I spray everything off with a hose to reveal a lot cleaner patio than half an hour before. This sodium hypochlorite really does give a punch when it comes to cleaning patios, and I'm only using it at a 3-in-1 dilution with water. If you had a really bad spot, I'm sure you could even increase that to maybe 2-to-1, and that would be really quite powerful. I can't see anything being left on the surface if you increase the strength of it to 2-to-1. But it is really strong stuff, so you do have to be ultra careful with it. So I definitely recommend sodium hypochlorite to get off some really stubborn stains from your patio. It's quite difficult to buy over the counter, a lot easier online. I'll stick an Amazon link in the description below. This is only around about £8, so something for this strength, I didn't think that was particularly bad. So when it comes to these circular washers, I didn't actually find there was much difference between the Karcher and the Parkside. They both did the job really well. The only thing that maybe the Karcher will survive longer because maybe the plastic is a little bit higher quality. Having said that, the Parkside's a third of the price. And the other thing with the Karcher is you do get the other nozzles to suit your pressure washer, depending on how many litres of water per minute it throws out. But you can't do anything additional with these rotary washers that you can't do with your original lance of your pressure washer. They may keep the area cleaner and they may speed the process up. But if you actually want to cut through that dirt, the lance that came with your pressure washer is going to be stronger than anything you can buy like this. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Seems like winter's back already, so that was the summer for 2024. I will see you next time.